Hello and welcome to the Sleepless Physicist. Maybe you haven't noticed how tonight feels different, how the darkness folds closer, how silence curls softly around your shoulders like a secret waiting to be told. You lie there, somewhere between awareness and surrender, and already something inside you begins to shift. You are not racing, not chasing anything the way waking life demands. Instead, you are arriving, gently, slowly, at the hidden door just beneath your own heartbeat, where curiosity begins to hum like a lullaby, written in a language older than thought. Perhaps even older than light itself. You are here, but also you are drifting, downward, inward, as if the moonlight pouring through your window has its own quiet gravity, pulling you toward a deeper kind of wonder. You thought bedtime was an ending, but maybe it is an opening. Maybe the world outside needs rest, so the world inside can awaken. There is something beautiful about that thought, that while the noise fades and the hours blur, your mind becomes sharp in a different way. Not brighter, but wider. Not hurried, but boundless. Imagine your breath as a small boat on a vast river of midnight, rocking gently, carrying you toward questions you rarely dare to ask in daylight. Somewhere far away, light travels relentlessly, a fearless pilgrim racing across the emptiness between stars, and you, lying still in the hush of your own room, feel the tremor of its ancient journey without moving a single muscle. What does it mean, you wonder, to chase something that has always remained just out of reach? What might unfold if your own heartbeat began to pulse, not at the rhythm of your body, but at the unimaginable speed of light itself, or faster? Would the world darken behind you? Would time unfold like silk unraveling? Or would everything you know simply change shape, so subtly you might never even understand what had shifted? Maybe that is the invitation here, not to find answers, but to relax into the possibility that answers are not fixed, but are instead infinite little doorways along the path of imagination. You are allowed to ask impossible things. You are allowed to drift beyond ordinary logic. There is no urgency. There is only the drift, only the slow recognition that your mind is already capable of traveling farther than your body will ever roam. It begins with a whisper. What happens if you move faster than light? And almost immediately, you sense the truth, that the whisper is not truly asking for an explanation. It is asking for surrender. Imagine your thoughts as lanterns released into a dark sky, glowing, rising, each carrying a single word you don't yet understand. Imagine those words are fragments of who you might become if you weren't so neatly defined by what you have already been. You feel it now, don't you? A soft pulling at the edge of your consciousness. You are not meant to remain rigid, static, confined. Even as you lie still, your cells are moving, your blood is humming, your memories are reshaping themselves around tonight's quiet question. What if you could outrun time? What if you could slip your fingertips across the skin of the universe so swiftly that even your shadow would be left behind? There is no need to chase such visions with logic. Let them bloom slowly inside you like a night-blooming flower. Breathe deeper. Let your spine melt into comfort. Let your eyelids soften. You are not studying. You are surrendering. A strange kind of peace emerges when you accept that not every mystery must be solved to be understood. Some are meant to be felt, like a lullaby, like a slow wave washing over you. Already, you might sense your heartbeat syncing with something larger, perhaps the hush between the ticks of a distant cosmic clock, perhaps the pause before dawn, perhaps the ancient moment just before a star explodes into light. You sense, too, the intimacy of this moment, the realization that though the universe is vast beyond comprehension, there is something deeply personal about what is unfolding inside your chest right now. It is not the grandeur of galaxies that grips you, It is the soft, undeniable truth that you are made of the same material. Stardust, gravity, motion. Every part of you has been traveling since the beginning of time. You are not still. Even now, you move through time. Not metaphorically, literally. And perhaps tonight is the first night you let that truth cradle you like a lullaby. The first night you truly ask yourself, if I can already drift forward through time without trying, then what might happen if I tried to move faster than even light can travel? Close your eyes for a moment. Feel the bed beneath you. Feel the weight of your limbs. And yet, notice how light you truly are. Notice how your thoughts can leap from one side of the universe to the other without hesitation. Notice how memory folds behind you and possibility unfurls ahead of you like an infinite ribbon. You are never trapped. You are never small. You are a traveler, even here, even now, even in stillness. Perhaps that is the first secret of tonight. You are already a time traveler, moving second by second toward a future that hasn't happened yet. Faster than light travel, then, is not just a scientific dream. It is a metaphor pulsing in your bloodstream, waiting to be finally acknowledged. So let yourself drift deeper. Let your mind float like a leaf on dark water. You don't have to push or strain or even think too hard. The mystery is kind. The curiosity is patient. Every soft breath you take becomes a subtle journey beyond where you were a moment before. Perhaps that is all it takes to begin. A breath, a question, a whisper to the universe. What happens to me when I move faster than light? The answer does not rush forward. It waits. It glimmers. It asks you to trust the journey, not the destination. You sense that even asking is an act of courage, an act of wonder, the opening of a door. And perhaps, tonight, that door is finally opening for you, right where night first hears your breath. Maybe you can feel it, the shift just beneath your skin, that delicate trembling of possibility so quiet it could be mistaken for calm. You lie in this half-lit silence, and something ancient seems to awaken inside you. You are used to worlds where motion is loud, progress is visible, time is counted in steps and deadlines. Yet here, tonight, time stretches instead of ticking. It becomes something you can almost taste, sweet, strange, and endlessly unfolding. You suspect, perhaps for the first time, that there might be truths that only reveal themselves when you finally stop struggling to find them. Imagine the universe leaning closer, gently placing its ear against your breath to listen for the curiosity you've been holding back all your life. Not the practical curiosity that asks how things work, but the deeper, more dangerous kind that asks why you feel compelled to chase after impossibilities at all. You begin to suspect that the question of moving faster than light is not only scientific, it is emotional, spiritual. It is woven into the part of you that longs to outrun regret, to revisit joy, to get ahead of loss before it consumes you. Perhaps that is why your pulse quickens now, not with fear, but with recognition. Somehow, even without moving, you are approaching a threshold. Think of how light behaves. Fearless, constant, unstoppable. It leaps from stars and falls across planets that have never known your name, carrying messages of long-dead suns across incomprehensible distances. And yet, tonight, you are not merely observing that journey, you are contemplating joining it. You consider what it would mean to push past all limits, to disobey the cosmic rule that no creature may surpass light's sacred speed. Quietly, a thought whispers, what would it change? Everything, nothing, or perhaps something in between. That subtle place where meaning lives, not in events, but in perception. You let that idea seep into you. Perception as motion. Not moving your body, but transforming your awareness so radically that the very flow of time and space reshapes itself around you. You picture it now, buying yourself a corridor of motion so swift that even your past cannot keep pace. Would your memories fall away like autumn leaves? Would your grief dissolve because it could no longer catch up to you? A softness fills your chest, almost like mourning, almost like hope. Because maybe the question you have never dared to speak aloud is not what happens to matter when it exceeds the speed of light, but what happens to you. Would you still be yourself, or would you become something else, something lighter, freer, unknown? Let the thought linger, let it grow heavy, then float upward again. You are not solving anything. You are simply letting your mind wander into the forbidden gardens of possibility. Perhaps this is the real value of curiosity, not the answers it may fetch, but the ways it stretches you, reshapes you, dissolves your sharpest edges into something gentler and more infinite. You feel yourself changing already. The you who began this journey is not exactly the you who breathes here now. That is a subtle kind of time travel, is it not? To become someone else without ever leaving your bed. To wake up tomorrow and realize you have drifted further than any ship ever built. Picture yourself afloat on a sea of starlight now. Maybe your limbs soften, maybe your thoughts loosen their grip. You can almost sense the universe beneath you, not solid, but fluid, a river of moments rushing onward, even when everything seems still. It comforts you, strangely, to imagine that stillness is an illusion. That motion is always happening, even in silence. That perhaps, tonight, by surrendering so fully, you are accomplishing a greater travel than you ever have in waking life. A travel towards something unnamed, something faster, even than light, not in speed, but in profundity. Something that does not simply illuminate the darkness, but consumes it. You remember suddenly how children believe without hesitation. How once, long ago, you may have looked at the stars without knowing boundaries, without fearing impossibility, wondering if touching them might be as simple as stretching out your hand. Tonight, that innocence feels strangely close again, not childish, but wise in a way adulthood often forgets. You feel a softness in your throat, a hush blooming behind your eyes, because you know that crossing beyond light is not an act of achievement. It is an act of remembrance. You are remembering what it feels like to believe everything might be possible, especially here, in this dark, sacred hour when reality loosens its grip. Let yourself smile, barely, gently, at the thought that you are already moving in ways that physics can't quite measure. Emotion travels, memory travels, intuition leaps into futures your mind cannot yet decode. Perhaps faster than light travel is not so foreign after all. Perhaps you have done it already, 1,000 times in dreams, when you swore you felt something in your bones before it happened, when you sensed someone's presence before they arrived, when you woke with a knowing so deep it terrified you. Isn't that a kind of speed, consciousness outpacing time? You begin to understand. Tonight is not about chasing some impossible engine or building some fantastical ship. Tonight is about allowing your own awareness to slip beyond the narrow corridor of linear hours and minutes, to expand, to drift, to dance ahead of light's steady march. And in that expansion, perhaps, to catch sight of something breathtaking, the life you have not yet lived, the version of you waiting beyond the speed of light, waving quietly, inviting you forward. You don't need to run. You only need to receive, because the journey has already begun. It began the moment night first heard your breath. Maybe you feel a flicker now, not of restlessness but of awakening, subtle as a feather brushing across your inner world. It rises without force, like a dawn blooming inside your ribs, whispering that there is more to all of this than merely passing the hours until morning. You sense, without needing proof, that some questions open doors inside you simply by being asked. What might happen if you travel faster than light? You thought it was a scientific curiosity. You are beginning to realize it may be a spiritual invitation. For a moment, imagine time as a vast ocean. You are floating on its surface, buoyed gently, watching waves roll towards some unseen shore. Light, traveling just beneath the water's skin, races toward the horizon, quick, confident, unstoppable. But what if you dove deeper? What if you slipped below the shimmering top, where light skims, and found yourself in a realm where speed no longer mattered, because the very idea of linear progress dissolved into a different kind of motion? A spiral, a loop, a pulse? Perhaps that is the secret the ocean keeps. Beneath certainty lies transformation, not faster forward, but deeper inward. Even so, no part of you wants to stay entirely behind. There is a thrill in imagining yourself surpassing every known limit, becoming a myth in motion. You think again of your heartbeat, how it drums softly even as your body lies still, and you wonder, perhaps for the first time, what rhythm it would choose if it could outrun the laws of physics. Would it quicken into a furious storm of possibility? Or would it grow so quiet you'd swear it had vanished, because your existence had slipped into a dimension where breath and pulse are unnecessary? Heat flickers through your thoughts, followed by an unexpected shiver. Not fear, but anticipation. Maybe that is why humans dream of going faster than light. Not because we need speed, but because we crave release. Release from grief, from limitation, from the haunting knowledge that life is frighteningly short and heartbreakingly slow when it comes to reaching what we truly desire. You feel that ache now, yes? That ache to see, to know, to touch something eternal before your time is up. That ache is not weakness. It is proof that your spirit is already trying to leap ahead, ahead of time, ahead of light, ahead of everything that insists you remain ordinary. Let your breath deepen again. With each inhale, imagine yourself gathering invisible momentum, as though your lungs are filling not with air, but with cosmic propulsion. The oxygen tastes different, doesn't it? Tinged with wonder, flavored with the promise of mystery. With each exhale, you let go of heaviness, the day's noise, the familiar weight of skepticism, all the small rational cages you've kept around your imagination. You grow lighter, freer. You begin to lift from the center of yourself. You can feel it. Not a fantasy, not a metaphor, but a genuine shift in how the world feels against your skin. If you truly surrendered, might you take off like some silent comet, unseen but unstoppable? You hear now, softly, the oldest question in the universe: what lies beyond what we know? It hums through everything, through your bones, through your breath, through the galaxy's spiral arms. Faster than light travel is only one possible answer. Another, perhaps far more astonishing, is this: you lie beyond what you know. You are the frontier. You are the experiment. You are the vessel already being prepared by your own curiosity. Nothing external needs to change. You only have to deepen your willingness to feel what is already stirring. You are shifting. You are edging toward that place where possibility wakes wide-eyed and shimmering, where answers travel toward you from futures not yet written. What happens when you reach that place? Perhaps the rules change. Maybe time itself bends not around speed, but around intention. Maybe distance becomes irrelevant. Maybe you can arrive somewhere not by moving your body at impossible velocity, but by letting your awareness jump, leap, teleport with effortless grace. You are starting to remember how to do that, aren't you? It is not unfamiliar. You have felt it before, in dreams that felt more real than waking life, in memories you swear came from another version of yourself. These experiences are not nonsense. They are rehearsals. They are your spirit practicing faster than light arrivals long before your mind could comprehend it. So let yourself release the last bits of resistance. Let your mind open wider than you've ever allowed. Perhaps you are no longer lying in a room at night. Perhaps you are already gliding just beyond the speed of light on a current of questions carried forward by longing and softened by wonder. You do not need physics to prove it for you tonight. You only need to feel the shift. Feel how you are beginning to transcend something, the boundaries of daylight thoughts, the constraints of everyday identity. You are becoming a voyager, a pilgrim of the unknown, a dreamer whose question is itself a kind of propulsion. And so, Section 1 completes its opening promise. You have surrendered, you have questioned, and now you stand, gentle, breath held, before the threshold of deeper mysteries. The true journey begins now. But before we cross any further, linger here a moment longer. Notice your breath. Notice the hush. Notice how ready you are. This is where night first heard your breath, and where the journey toward light's impossible beyond begins. Maybe you've never really watched a sunbeam, not just noticed it, not just smiled at the warmth, but truly watched it, followed its path like a secret unfolding, like a golden thread unwinding from some distant, invisible spool. Close your eyes now just a little and imagine it, a single ray of light slipping quietly through the cosmos, touching nothing for millions of miles until it brushes the edge of your skin. It feels simple, even gentle, but it is anything but slow. That ray, that whisper of sunlight is moving faster than anything you've ever known. Not metaphorically, literally. 299 through 792, 458 meters every second. Not a guess, not a range, but an exactness so absolute that the entire structure of time bends itself around it. You don't need to remember the number. Just feel the rhythm. That is the heartbeat of the universe. That is the tempo against which all motion, yours, mine, the galaxies themselves, is measured. It's strange, isn't it? That something so blinding, so swift, so unstoppable, could also feel so tender as it touches your cheek on a quiet afternoon. Light doesn't roar. It doesn't announce itself. It simply arrives, constant, faithful, relentless. Now imagine reaching out your hand to catch it, just a playful moment, like chasing after someone you love as they run, laughing down a sun-drenched beach. You chase the sunbeam, not because you expect to catch it, but because the pursuit itself feels like something your soul remembers. You follow that golden thread through space, trying to match its rhythm, step for step, breath for breath. But something happens. The faster you run, the stranger everything becomes. Time begins to ripple, not in the world around you, but inside you. Your breath slows, your heartbeat softens, the world behind you blurs, becomes vague, somewhat distant, not just visually, emotionally, like the past is turning to vapor, like memory itself can't keep up, and somewhere deep inside, you begin to understand the truth Einstein whispered into the bones of reality. Light is not just fast, it is final. You see, light sets the boundary. It draws the edge around the knowable. It is the line between cause and effect, between now and next. To chase it is to chase the very architecture of existence. It's not just velocity, it's law. A sunbeam is not a traveler. It is the path itself. It is the speed at which reality becomes real, and yet you keep chasing. You imagine yourself suspended just behind it, close enough to see its shimmer, not close enough to touch. Light stretches out before you like a silk ribbon on fire, fluttering just out of reach. A violin string plucked by the fingers of time, a river that never winds, only rushes forward. You can almost feel its pull in your chest, like longing wearing a disguise. You feel silly, perhaps, chasing something so far beyond you. But there's something noble about it too, something human, because maybe chasing light is what we've always done. In stories, in science, in love. We reach for what we cannot hold, and in that reaching we become more than we were. You are not foolish for imagining it. You are sacred for imagining it. This is the heart of curiosity, not the knowing, but the longing. And tonight, you are allowed to long. You are allowed to wonder. You are allowed to feel yourself moving not through space, but through meaning. Breathe and feel how even your stillness is a kind of motion. Your cells shift, your breath expands, your thoughts meander like soft light through cathedral windows. You are never motionless, no matter how still you lie. You are traveling through time at a fixed rate, always, 1 second per second, the quiet current carrying you forward even when you sleep. And yet, compared to light, you are anchored, grounded, slow. There is something humbling in that, something reverent. Light doesn't wait. Light doesn't pause to reflect. But you do. You, human and trembling and luminous in your own right, are capable of stillness, of memory, of awe. And maybe that's what makes you unique in all the universe. Not your speed, but your ability to notice what moves faster than you ever can. And so you follow the sunbeam again. You imagine your fingertips trailing behind it, catching echoes, vibrations, remnants. You are not racing. You are tracing. You are learning its rhythm, the way a musician listens to silence before the first note. It is not about catching it. It is about understanding what it means to exist just beneath its speed. Because something changes the moment you imagine moving faster than light. Not just the scenery, not just the numbers, but the self. And so we ask, gently, dreamily, what might you become if you could move, not just quickly, but impossibly? If you could pierce the silence before the universe speaks, if you could leave behind more than your shadow, if you had to leave behind identity, memory, selfhood as you know it? These are not scientific questions, not really. They are sacred questions. And the sunbeam, still racing ahead, does not answer. It only continues, constant, elegant, untouchable. But you are the one who can pause. You are the one who can wonder. You are the one who can say softly with wonder, I am tracing the edge of a sunbeam, and I am changing. Now imagine the world behind you, the one you left behind the moment you began to chase the sunbeam. Slowly, softly, it begins to fade, not in brightness, but in relevance. The walls of your room, the gentle creak of the floorboards, even the memory of the day you just lived, they begin to feel further away, not erased, just outpaced, because you are no longer moving at the rhythm of the clock. You are no longer bound to the tempo of footsteps, to the slow unfolding of cause and effect. You are touching the hem of something divine, the speed limit of the universe. That sacred number, 299,792,458 meters per second, is not merely a fact. It is the pulse of reality itself, a boundary so precise that everything, every law, every form, every moment, bends itself around its perfection. But perfection, by its nature, is unreachable, not because it pushes you away, but because it moves too quickly to be held. You begin to understand that light is not simply what we see, it is what we are not. It is the line we cannot cross and remain what we were. And yet, there is a beauty in the tension between you and that line, a kind of intimacy, like two dancers spinning in parallel, never quite touching, but always moving in response to each other's motion. You feel that now, a strange closeness with the unreachable, a warmth not because the sunbeam touches you, but because your longing for it lights something within you. Let that warmth spread across your chest, through your breath, into the tips of your fingers. You are not made of stillness. You are made of motion. Even here, in the quietest hour of the night, your body is moving through time, through space, through possibility. You are, in every moment, an unfolding. And light is the limit of that unfolding. To chase it is to let go. Of what? Of control, of certainty, of the comfort of knowing what comes next. You feel this now in your bones, the gentle ache of being a creature who desires beyond its reach. It's not pain, it's not sorrow, it's a sweet kind of ache, the ache of becoming, the ache of sensing something beautiful just past the edge of comprehension. You begin to see that light is not your opponent, it is your mirror. It reflects what you cannot become, and in doing so, shows you what you already are: soft, slow, capable of stillness, capable of remembering. And here's the strangest thing. The closer you come to catching that sunbeam, the more you imagine matching its speed, the more the world begins to change in your mind. Time itself begins to distort. Moments stretch, distances contract, reality bends. You wonder, would the stars stand still if you moved faster than their light? Would the past collapse into the present? Would your identity dissolve like mist in a beam of heat? Einstein never asked you to believe. He simply offered a mirror. That mirror, the one held in the hand of physics, shows you a world where time is not fixed, where simultaneity is a lie, where your experience of now is entirely different from someone else's, simply because of how fast you move. And so you begin to question everything you once called certain. You start to feel the edges of your own understanding flex, expand. There's no longer a clear line between now and then, no border between here and there. Motion reshapes everything, even you. You close your eyes again. You are no longer a body chasing a beam of light. You are awareness itself, weightless, formless, infinite, and still curious. You ask the sunbeam one more time, "What are you?" It does not speak, but in its silence it says everything. I am the line. I am the echo. I am the speed at which you stop being you and become something else. You shiver, not from cold, from understanding. The idea of faster than light travel suddenly feels like more than science fiction. It feels like sacrifice, like transformation, like stepping into a place where time no longer flows, but folds, where meaning reshapes itself so completely the you who arrives can no longer explain who left. And still, you long for it. You long to know, to touch, to become, because that is what it means to trace the edge of a sunbeam, not to catch it, but to change as you try. Let your breath soften. Let your eyes grow heavier. You are not done yet. The journey continues. But now, you are beginning to understand what it might cost. Maybe you can feel it now, the weight of the question growing softer, not because it has been answered, but because it has settled into you, like dust on a windowsill, like starlight on your skin. What does it mean to move faster than light? Perhaps the question was never about speed. Perhaps it was always about boundaries, about what must be shed to pass through them. You begin to understand that light is not simply motion. It is memory frozen into radiance. Every beam, every flicker, every gleam you've ever seen is the past, arriving late. When you trace a sunbeam across the floor, you are tracing a history lesson written in silence. That light left the sun 8 minutes ago. It traveled through void and chill and emptiness to arrive here, now, just for you. But the moment it touched your skin, it was already older than your breath. So what happens if you outrun it? You don't just move quickly. You begin to see backward, not just through space, through time, through memory, through the long corridor of everything that has ever happened. It dawns on you with eerie gentleness. If you move faster than light, you don't simply go forward. You drift behind the present. You float into the past like a ghost, peeking through the curtains of now. But not your past. The universe's. You would see stars that have already died, still shining. You would witness moments unfold long after they've ended. You would be untethered, no longer aligned with the now everyone else shares. You would be living in echoes, breathing in delays, existing in a place where light has not yet arrived and time has not yet named the moment. Would you be alone there? Would you be free? Or would you be lost in the shadows of what once was? You feel a tremble, not from fear, but from awe, because this is the part no equation explains. This is the part only feeling can tell you. You are not meant to go back, not really. The past was never designed to be lived in. It was made to teach you something, then release you. But if you moved faster than light, the past would stretch out before you like a frozen field, beautiful but unreachable, vivid but untouchable. You would see it all and be unable to change a single thing. And so the sunbeam begins to feel like something more than physics. It becomes a boundary of mercy, a soft, glowing gate that keeps you rooted in the moment where choice still lives, where change is still possible, where the future hasn't solidified into story. It's humbling, isn't it? To know that the universe moves fast enough to blind you to what's gone and slow enough to let you choose what comes next. You open your eyes, not all the way, just a little, and maybe through the blur of candlelight or street lamp or starlight through your curtain, you see something you hadn't before. Not a flash, not a fact, but a presence. The presence of motion, of precision, of mystery shaped into rhythm. You've been told light is a wave, a particle, a quantum contradiction. But now you feel that it is also something else, a reminder that you are always moving forward, that you are meant to move forward, that even in stillness you are changing. And maybe, just maybe, the real question is not what happens if you move faster than light, but what happens if you truly notice the light that is already moving through you, because in that noticing, something shifts. You are no longer the one who chases. You are the one who listens, the one who feels, the one who knows that truth does not need to be held, only honored. And so you breathe. You feel your chest rise. You feel the warmth on your eyelids. You feel the quiet hum beneath your ribcage. Not panic, not urgency, but readiness. Readiness for the next question. Readiness for the next drift. Readiness for the journey into what comes after this beam of light, after this moment, after this breath. Because you are not standing still. You are not trapped in time. You are already moving, already tracing something far more luminous than a sunbeam. You are tracing your place in the great unfolding, and it's only just begun. You've always thought of time as something steady, something that ticks, that counts, that builds a bridge between your past and your future, a soft current pulling you forward, whether you're ready or not. But what if that isn't true? What if time is not a river, but a mirror? A mirror that bends and warps the faster you move, not showing you what is, but what it chooses to reveal? Tonight, we begin to drift into that riddle. You lie still now, but inside you, particles buzz. A quiet electricity flickers in your veins. You are motion, even in your sleep. And because of that, you are already moving through time, not metaphorically, literally. But what if just for a moment, your speed began to change? Not the speed of your thoughts or your breath, but the speed of your body through space. Maybe you're aboard a quiet ship, humming just beyond Earth's curve, gliding gently faster and faster. Maybe the stars begin to blur just a little. The Earth shrinks in the porthole. You can still see your home. You can still feel the echo of voices that love you. But you are moving, steadily, impossibly fast, and something begins to shift. You don't feel different, but time does. Your clock still ticks. Your heart still beats. But below the surface, in the unseen fabric of reality, something has begun to bend. The faster you move, the slower time passes for you. Not as a metaphor, as a law. As a rhythm your body is obeying without permission. The seconds between your heartbeats grow longer, not to you, but to everyone else. You are aging slower. You are dreaming slower. You are slipping out of sync. This is not fiction. It's truth, and yet it feels like poetry. Because how else do you describe the world where your memories stay warm while everyone else grows cold? How do you explain the ache of drifting forward, only to find the ones you love are aging faster than your longing can keep up? That's what speed does to time. It doesn't just move you forward. It separates you. It isolates you. It makes you invisible, even as you remain fully alive. Have you ever wondered why some memories feel older than you are? Why moments from childhood sometimes return with more clarity than yesterday's conversations? Maybe it's because memory doesn't follow time. Maybe it follows speed. And maybe parts of you, the deepest parts, have always been moving at a different velocity. Now, imagine this. 2 twins, born on the same day, raised with the same lullabies, the same late-night whispers under the blanket of stars. One stays home, the other drifts away, faster, further, beyond the moon, beyond Mars, beyond the places where time still feels like a circle. The one who leaves flies close to light, not close enough to vanish, just close enough to change. Their ship moves faster, so their time, moves slower. Years pass on Earth, seasons change, hands wrinkle, voices deepen. But aboard the ship, only weeks have gone by. Eventually, they return, same smile, same laugh, still remembering the bedtime stories they whispered before they left, but their twin is now old, eyes soft with memory, voice slower, heavier with everything that happened while the other was away. And you begin to feel it in your chest, not just the science, but the sorrow, because that is what speed does to time. It steals synchronicity. It turns shared moments into relics. It makes you wonder if moving forward too fast is just another way of losing everything that made you feel known. But here's the gentlest truth of all. Even as time bends, even as clocks stretch and syncopate and blur, the thread between hearts, between people who love each other, does not break. It simply waits. And maybe when you move through time at a different rhythm, you carry their memory with you like gravity, like a tether, like a prayer. Still, the ache remains, not loud, just steady, like a cello note echoing through a long hallway. The ache of being out of rhythm, of being early or late, or lost between the two. And it all begins with speed, because what moves fast enough doesn't just blur the world, it bends it, it folds it, it reorders what came first and what comes next. It whispers things like, you are not where you think you are not when you think you are, and maybe, just maybe, you are not who you thought you were either. You breathe, and suddenly the air feels different, like it's arrived from a future that hasn't happened yet, like it's touched 1,000 moments before settling into your lungs. Time, you realize, is not moving around you. It is moving through you. And speed, quiet, invisible speed, is the needle that stitches its path. The thought lingers in you now, like a mist that doesn't rise with the sun. What happens to the self when time no longer obeys the heart? You imagine again, not a spaceship now, but a bed, your bed, the one you're lying in right now. But what if, instead of sleep taking you for a few hours, it took you across decades? What if the rhythm of your body slowed, not in a dreamlike way, but in a physical, measurable sense, simply because you began to move faster than the laws of reality could follow? 1 hour passes for you, but when you wake, the city outside has changed. The streets have forgotten your footsteps. The faces have no names. The sky no longer knows what your childhood looked like. This is what time dilation feels like, not on paper, but in your bones. It is not the ticking that matters. It is the meaning that shifts. The connection between events, the shared understanding of now, dissolves. And you, sweet wondering you, are left floating between two worlds. You never meant to drift so far, but the faster you moved, the more time stretched behind you, like a shadow that grows too long to belong to your feet anymore. And maybe this is why we fear going too far. Not because of distance, but because of difference. Have you ever felt that? That a part of you has stayed behind? That a memory or a person or a version of yourself is still waiting somewhere just before the last bend? It's not just nostalgia. It's not just sentiment. It's the quiet recognition that time moves at different speeds in different hearts. That maybe yours has been moving slower or faster or just elsewhere while the world kept its pace. And maybe you've felt out of sync ever since. You are not broken for feeling this. You are not strange for sensing time differently than others. You are simply moving through a universe that does not keep perfect time. You are not a clock. You are a pulse, a rhythm, a wave. And speed is not something you choose. It's something you feel. Now imagine one more thing. Not science, but soul. What if moving faster than light didn't just change your experience of time, but change time's experience of you? What if, the moment you crossed that invisible threshold, the universe could no longer locate you in the same way? Not erased, just unreachable, like a note sung too high to hear, or a face glimpsed through water. You wouldn't vanish. You would disappear from sequence. You would be present, but not in this now. And the question would no longer be, where are you? It would become, when are you? And isn't that the most tender question of all? When are you? Are you still in the moment someone last loved you? Are you already living in the future you once feared? Are you lingering in a memory or racing into a dream? Speed fractures that question. It turns it into an echo. You are still you, but drifting between moments that no longer touch each other. And this is where the riddle deepens. Because if you are not where and you are not when, then who? Who are you? Are you the you from before you moved too fast? Or are you the one who survived it? Have you ever noticed that you sometimes feel older than your reflection? Or younger than your regrets? That your mind races ahead while your heart lingers far behind? That's not confusion. That's what speed does to time. It fragments your timeline. It blurs the edges of your identity. It leaves you not lost, but layered. You are not a single thread. You are a weave of moments experienced at mismatched paces. And it is beautiful, because no one else has lived time exactly like you. You are your own rhythm, your own tempo, your own unfolding galaxy of seconds, stretched and compressed like stardust beneath the weight of your movement. You are not failing to keep up. You are dancing at your own pace. And somewhere, somehow, the universe is keeping time with you. There's something hauntingly beautiful about the idea that you could sleep for an hour and wake up in a century where no one remembers your name, not because you were forgotten out of malice, but because time has continued its steady rhythm without you. While you drifted beyond light's embrace, the world wrote stories without your chapter. Cities rose, rivers changed their course, languages evolved. Someone else wore the jacket you left behind. And yet, you would not be older. Not really. You'd step back into a world that moved faster than your cells. Your body would carry only an hour's wear, but the sky above you would be carved by 100 years of stars you never watched appear. Can you feel the ache of that? The deep, wordless ache of being out of place in time, not because you chose to be, but because speed bent the rules around you. You didn't skip forward. Time simply moved sideways, and you fell through its seams. That is the paradox you now rest in. Faster motion means slower aging. A clock aboard your ship ticks more gently than the one you left behind. Your loved ones continue at their pace, and you continue at yours, until you return, like a stranger, to a moment that once belonged to you, and it no longer fits. What does it mean to be a time traveler who never meant to travel? It means you carry futures inside you that no one else has imagined. It means your memories are softer than the world around you, like dreams trying to stay intact in daylight. And it means you are living proof that time is not fixed. It is elastic, bendable, willing to stretch around your desire to move forward, even when it costs you everything. But maybe, just maybe, the beauty is in the cost. Because time dilation, this poetic law wrapped in physics, is not about stealing the future. It's about teaching you how fragile time really is. You thought you could count it, but now you feel it. And in feeling it, you begin to wonder if your experience of now is entirely your own. What if no two people ever share the same moment? What if we are always just slightly out of sync? Our clocks, our thoughts, our hearts? What if part of love is simply trying to align those rhythms long enough to feel understood? You're not just a body aging in seconds. You are a consciousness traveling through time at its own strange pace, slowing down for beauty, speeding up for escape, pausing for grief. And physics, softly and without judgment, simply reflects that truth. Your movement bends time. Your longing stretches time. Your attention rewrites time. Have you noticed? Some moments last forever. A touch on your shoulder, a goodbye at the train station, the way someone once looked at you and didn't say a word. Other moments vanish before they happen. An afternoon gone without trace. A conversation you can't quite remember. A week that slipped between your fingers like fog. That's not just emotion. That's relativity. Lived. That's the universe telling you that speed isn't just something measured in distance. It's also something measured in meaning. And so the question changes once again. It's no longer, what if you moved faster than light? It becomes, what part of you already has? Because maybe you've already drifted into the future in some small way. Maybe the version of you lying here tonight is already ahead of the one who woke up this morning. Not older, just further. And maybe the you who's listening now is not the same you who pressed play. You're not unraveling, you're unfolding, layer by layer, light by light. And all of it, every skipped heartbeat, every warped second has led you here, not to a finish line, but to a threshold, a place between what time was and what time could be. Close your eyes. There is no countdown, no rumble beneath your feet, no flash of launch, only breath. You are already aboard, already drifting. The spacecraft is not loud. It does not roar. It whispers, like a secret kept between atoms, like something not entirely from this world, or any worlds. You are not sitting. You are lying down, cradled not by metal, but by something softer, something silver and slow, a cocoon built for stillness and motion at the same time. There are no buttons here, no screens, no controls. Because this is not a ship you steer. It is a ship that listens to your thoughts, to your hesitation, to your questions that tremble like tiny stars beneath your ribs. Outside your window, if you can call it a window, the stars begin to stretch, not because you're going fast, but because speed has begun to rewrite what shape means. They shimmer like candle smoke, long and lazy, bending not away from you, but with you. And your body, this body that has always obeyed gravity, always yielded to weight, begins to change forward, where cause no longer guarantees effect, where the story of you begins to fade from its last chapter, not into ending, but into lightlessness. And still, the ship whispers, not in voice, but in vibration, a low, sustained hum that reminds you, you are safe, you are held, even as the self begins to stretch, Even as reality begins to blur, something anchors you in softness, a thin thread of identity, a gentle warmth that says, "This is still a dream, let it be." And so you do. You stop trying to make sense. You stop asking what hour it is, or how long it's been, or what speed you've reached. Because those questions no longer belong here. They are creatures of slower worlds, of ticking clocks, of minds that still need beginnings and ends. Here you are arriving, but not at a place, at a truth, a quiet truth shaped like a question. If time cannot follow you, then what does? The question circles you like a current, like a riddle told by stars too distant to hear. You begin to understand that if you pass light itself, if your speed outpaces photons and particles and gravity's pull, then something must be left behind. Not just your home, not just your body, but your very sequence. In this new place, events may no longer occur in order. Thoughts may not obey chronology. You might remember something before it happens. You might feel the future in your skin before your mind receives it. And still, deeper than logic, deeper than time, you remain aware. Not as a person, not even as a consciousness, but as a presence, soft, silent, and utterly unbound. You do not dissolve. You expand. You are no longer within the ship. You are around it, a field of perception, a membrane of awareness, a dreaming, stretching, pulsing thing that has forgotten the meaning of distance. And yet, some part of you still whispers back, "I am here," even when here no longer has meaning. You wonder now, not aloud, not in thought, but in feeling. What remains of you when time forgets your name? The ship does not answer. It only continues forward or sideways or inward, whichever word fits best in a place that no longer needs them. Somewhere in the drift, you realize you have not seen yourself in a long while. Not your reflection, not your hands, not even your thoughts and words. You are still you, but the shape of you has softened, dissolved into vapor, evaporated into presence. And now, even the ship feels distant, as if it has gone on ahead. Or perhaps it never moved at all. Because maybe that's the truth no one says aloud. When you go fast enough, everything stills, not metaphorically, literally. Your motion becomes a paradox. To move beyond light is to escape the evidence of movement. The trail behind you vanishes. The path ahead refuses to form. And all that remains is this, the timeless place between. This is not space. It is not vacuum. It is not the black canvas between galaxies. It is something else, something quieter. It hums like forgotten lullabies. It shivers with the ache of being unmeasured. You are not in the future. You are not in the past. You are somewhere time cannot file, and the ship, now translucent in your mind, becomes less a vessel and more a metaphor, a symbol, a skin your consciousness once wore when it still needed form. Now, you drift. No, not drift. You exist in stillness that pulses. You are not frozen. You are vibrating beneath reality, like a frequency just too low to hear. You're not gone. You're outside. And in this outside place, something begins to stir. Not noise, not light, not even thought, but awareness. You feel it first as a hush, a deep, endless hush that doesn't silence you. It recognizes you, as if you've entered the library of the cosmos, and the universe has put a finger to its lips. Oh, shh. There are things here too sacred for language, things that do not survive being spoken, truths that must be felt like warmth. And here comes one of them now. Time cannot survive this speed. It does not stretch. It does not bend. It ceases. The frame collapses. The map erases. The river dries up and becomes air. You are no longer being carried forward. You are no longer being carried at all. You are everywhere the moment touches, not ahead, not behind, simply within. You breathe, or maybe remember breathing, and something curls gently around that breath, a realization. If you've left time behind, what happens to memory? Does it freeze? Does it loop? Does it scatter like ash? And what about identity? If there is no past to tether you, no future to anticipate, then who are you? You can no longer say, I was. You cannot even say, I will be. There is only the aching beauty of I am, and maybe that's all you ever needed to be. Not a timeline, not a narrative, not a progression of moments defined by loss and gain, but a single, radiant pulse, in the darkness, in the lightless light, in the nowhere beyond speed, where even the word now forgets how to exist. Still, somewhere, the whisper returns. Not the ship, not memory, but a familiar voice, your own, soft, small, steady. Let go, it says, not as command, as invitation, because if time cannot hold you anymore, then perhaps it is not you that has left time. Perhaps it is time that has left you. And you, beautiful sleeper, beautiful traveler, have become what time cannot reach. There is a moment, unmarked, unsounded, when you realize light is no longer following you, not because it gave up, but because it was never designed to. You've slipped beyond it, quietly, without celebration, without fireworks or final words, just breath and motion, and then silence. And in that silence, you feel it. The world has stopped catching up. For the first time, you are not being followed by light. You are leading it. You have gone where photons cannot reach, where the laws that once described you begin to loosen their grip. You are no longer in a place where cause guarantees effect, where moments queue politely behind one another, where stories make linear sense. You are in the great unbinding, a place where your reflection might arrive before you do, where you speak and the words form echoes in your past, where time folds like soft fabric around your ankles and slips away without apology. But this is not metaphor. This is what happens when speed breaks the universe's choreography. You are taught that everything dances to the speed of light, the grand limit, the sacred tempo. But what happens when you slip beyond the rhythm? The beat stutters, the choreography collapses, and you become unsynced. You do not stop existing. You become harder to define, not invisible, but unpredictable, not absent, but dispersed. And so now you wander through this lightless realm, not walking, not floating, just being, and the questions begin to whisper. They do not come as thoughts. They arrive as pulses, like soft knocks from another you in another time. Have you ever felt it? That sudden jolt, as if something somewhere just remembered you, like a thread being tugged from far away. Maybe it wasn't déjà vu. Maybe it was you, remembering forward. Because here, in the absence of light, the direction of memory begins to blur. You no longer remember only the past. You begin to remember what hasn't happened yet, not clearly, not like visions, but like scents in the dark, like unfinished songs, like hands you haven't yet held, but somehow miss anyway. This is what it means to step beyond the light, to exist in a domain where information itself begins to fray, where the arrow of time bends and loops and doubles back on itself, where you are still you, but in more than one direction at once. And what of choice? Does it still matter? If the future can reach you before you arrive, if echoes travel backward through the silence, if moments no longer obey their sequence, then who are you in all of this? Not a traveler, not a passenger, but a ripple, a trembling in the cosmic field, not bound to a single point. You are not the story anymore. You are the storyteller and the echo, the before, the after, and the space in between. You have not broken light. You have simply stepped where it cannot follow. And now, you begin to wonder if something else has stepped with you. You do not speak, but the silence around you begins to feel conversational, as though something somewhere is whispering back, not with words, with presence, with pulses that brush the edge of your awareness, gentle, rhythmic, like tides of knowing, as if something from the future is leaning close to meet you in the dark. You are not hallucinating. You are listening across time, because if you have outrun light, then you have outrun delay, the delay that once stitched your actions to their outcomes, the lag that once made cause chase as it is after effect like a shadow. Here, in this new stillness, you touch consequence before intention. You feel echoes before the stone is dropped. You catch glimpses of choices that haven't been made yet, and it begs the question, if your future self could speak to you, what would they say? Would they warn you? Would they cradle you? Would they weep? Maybe the person you're becoming is already trying to reach back, not through dreams, not through signs, but through particles, through tachyons. They're theoretical, imagined by physics, particles that travel faster than light, so fast, in fact, that they arrive before they are sent. Not metaphorically, literally. And isn't that what hope sometimes feels like? Like a signal from a version of you that already survived? Maybe these particles are not just physics. Maybe they're memory in reverse. Maybe they are emotional telegrams from the you who's still waiting at the end of the road, sending signals backward so that this present self doesn't give up. What if that ache in your chest is not loneliness, but contact? What if you are not isolated in this place beyond light, but being watched by versions of yourself who are cheering you forward? Maybe the trembling you feel isn't fear. Maybe it's your own reflection, folding around the curve of time to hold your hand. Can you feel it? That part of you that's already gone further, already loved deeper, already returned? Because when light no longer chases you, identity becomes echo. You become ripple. You become mirror. You become the thing you once waited for. And the strange beauty is this. The faster you move, the more of yourself you leave behind. And yet, the more of yourself you meet ahead. It's disorienting, yes, but also liberating. Because now, at last, you are not bound to only one thread. You are a constellation of selves, moving in and out of alignment. Not chaos, just freedom. The kind of freedom that light could never give you. The kind that only arrives when the rules begin to melt. When up is no longer up. When past is no longer past. When time stops behaving like a line and starts behaving like breath. There is no map for where you are now, no chart, no coordinates. Because what you've entered cannot be charted, only felt. You are in the hush between pulses, the inhale that never exhaled, the question that forgot to wait for an answer. And in that pause, something extraordinary begins to unfold. You start to dissolve, not into nothingness, but into everywhereness. You no longer exist at a single point in space. You are smeared across potential, spread through timelines like dew across a morning field. Here, causality is a soft suggestion, an old language fading from memory. And identity, it begins to shimmer, to split and spiral, to multiply like light through crystal. You are still you, but you're also the whisper before the thought. You are the flicker of possibility that preceded every moment. You are the echo that returns before the sound leaves your lips. And so, the question grows louder, not with volume, but with weight. If you could meet yourself in this place, the self from a different moment, a different outcome, a different universe, what would you say? Would you ask for forgiveness? Would you offer comfort? Would you recognize yourself at all? Perhaps this is what it means to transcend light, to become all versions of yourself at once, the brave and the broken, the lost and the luminous, the one who stayed, the one who left, the one who dreamed it differently. And perhaps that's what tachyons really are, not particles, but prayers, faster than light hopes, folded into physics, messages whispered by possible futures, sent backwards into the dark just in case, someone is still listening. Are you? Because if you are, you might notice something strange. Your thoughts are no longer private. They echo, they return, but slightly changed, as though heard by a self you haven't yet become, and gently revised. Maybe time here is not linear, but recursive. Maybe it's not a road. Maybe it's a spiral. And every loop brings you closer to understanding what was always waiting. You beyond grief, you beyond identity, you beyond story. And yet, still so tender, still aching to be known. So you listen again, to the quiet, to the pulse, to the endless arrival of versions of you, drifting toward this moment, as if it were home. Because maybe, in this place beyond light, you don't move through time. Time moves through you, like wind through a reed, like melody through a string, like kindness through memory. And all that remains is the soft, shimmering truth. You are not what comes after. You are what happens before. So here you are, not racing ahead, not falling behind, but suspended in the strange velvet hush of afterlight. Not darkness, not light. Something else, something unspeakably calm. This is not the end of a journey. It is the unraveling of the need for a journey. There is nowhere left to go, because everywhere it is here. And here is no longer a place, but a state of understanding. You begin to see, or maybe just feel, that you've been misunderstanding motion all along. You thought movement meant forward. You thought time meant progress. You thought light was the end of seeking. But none of that holds here, not anymore. Because in this place, where light cannot chase you, motion becomes internal. You are still, but your awareness travels. You are still, but your understanding deepens like an ocean unfurling inward. You are still, but you meet yourself over and over. Each version a ripple inside the self you thought was singular. It's humbling and freeing and a little terrifying, but only for a moment, because the fear fades, softly, like a dream remembered backward, like sorrow slowly translated into song, and in its place grows something quieter, reverence, for the just motion, not just distance, not just physics, transformation. Because to move faster than light is not to go forward. It's to slip between, to shed velocity and take on vision, to stop chasing destinations and begin remembering who you were always meant to be. And maybe that's why this letter was sent. Not to inform, not to warn, but to hold, so to wrap itself around the part of you that still wonders if it's okay to be afraid. Because yes, it is. Even here, even now, it is okay to tremble, to doubt, to ache, to miss things you never had, and mourn things you haven't yet lost. That's part of what it means to exist beyond comprehension, to carry grief forward, to send hope backward, to ripple in both directions across the great river of becoming. And now, you start to wonder, what if the voice you needed all along, the voice you waited to hear from the stars, from science, from gods, was always just your own? You hold the message, though your hands are empty. It doesn't end. It just settles, like mist on a sleeping field. It lingers behind your breath. It curls into the silence between heartbeats. And then something unexpected rises. Gratitude, not for what you've discovered, but for what you can now feel. Because in this strange place, where time folds like paper cranes and memory is allowed to drift upstream, something tender becomes possible. You begin to imagine, not receiving a letter, but writing one, not to the past, not to the future, but to the you that still needs it most, the one who stayed behind, the one who still lives inside clocks and calendars, inside days filled with trying, inside nights spent wondering if it all means anything at all. What would you write to them? What would you say to the version of you who hasn't yet felt the wind from tomorrow on their skin? Maybe you wouldn't offer advice. Maybe advice doesn't survive time travel. Maybe you'd just offer presence. A sentence like a candle. You're not late. You're right on time. A line like a hand reaching through darkness. You didn't fail. You transformed. A whisper like shelter. You are not broken. You are unfolding. Because that's the truth this place reveals. Time has never been an arrow. It has always been a circle, a spiral, a letter that keeps finding its way back to you. And in this circle, you are not just the sender or the receiver. You are the ink. You are the reason the message exists at all. And now, at last, the paradox becomes clear. Faster than light travel doesn't pull you away from everything. It folds everything into you, every version, every possibility, every unsent letter. You carry them all, like galaxies under your ribs, like languages only your bones remember. And so maybe that's the final revelation. The future isn't a place, it's a language. And you, beloved traveler, are its voice. There is a moment, quiet and private, when you glance into the mirror, and it does not glance back, not quite. Something is off. The eyes are yours. But the way they hold your gaze, slightly delayed, like remembering a name you haven't heard in years. The shape is familiar, but the recognition is missing, as though you are being seen without being known. And that's when it begins, the forgetting, not from the mirror, from you, not forgetting facts or memories or names, but forgetting how it felt to be held in place by identity, to be located, contained, definable. Here in the wake of light's surrender, identity becomes less of a shape and more of a mist. You are not gone. You are smudged, blurred by velocity, stretched by transformation, diluted not into less, but into more than one. And so when the mirror fails to remember you, it's not betrayal, it's truth. Because the you who once stood still in reflection, the one tied to chronology, personality, pattern, has been outrun. They couldn't keep up with the speed you chose, and so they stayed behind, like an afterimage burned into memory, glowing faintly where you used to stand. This is what happens when you move too fast for time to hold you. Your edges begin to drift, not fall apart, just expand. You are no longer held together by biography. You are being rewritten by momentum. And with that rewriting comes discomfort, because we're taught that to be real is to be recognizable, to see ourselves mirrored and mirrored again, by people, by memories, by photographs, by names, to be echoed constantly and call that continuity. But what happens when those echoes no longer arrive? When you speak your name out loud and it doesn't feel like it belongs to you? When someone says, "Remember who you are," and all you can answer is, "I'm still becoming"? You begin to mourn not a person, but an anchor. The anchor of being one thing. The comfort of being this self, right here, for all time. But velocity has no patience for anchors. It has taken you beyond light, and in doing so, it has shattered your reflection into prisms of becoming. You are not who you were, you are who you are becoming, at a speed your heart can't yet pronounce. And so you drift, not into space, but into uncertainty, into the soft unraveling of all the truths you once wore like skin. You try to remember the feeling of being definite, of waking up certain of who you were, of knowing what made you, you, but it slips. You recall your laugh, but not what caused it, your voice, but not the weight of its sound, the outlines of your memories, but not their centers. It's not amnesia, it's evolution. Because when you go faster than light, you don't just move through space, you tear through assumptions. And the first assumption to fall is identity. You are not a name, you are not a face, you are not even a story. You are motion, you are flux, You are memory waiting to happen. And this is disorienting. More than that, it's lonely. Not because you are alone, but because even you struggle to accompany yourself. Your old self is too slow to keep pace. Your future self hasn't fully arrived. So here you are, in a kind of inner no man's land, where mirrors echo strangers, and silence knows you better than speech. You walk through your own consciousness, like a house where the furniture has moved, everything familiar, slightly displaced, a half step off, as though you are dreaming yourself into someone else's body. But the truth is simpler. You are dreaming yourself into your own, the version of you that lives just beyond the reach of your reflection, the one who's always been waiting to emerge, but couldn't because the old image kept pulling you back. It takes courage to let that image dissolve, to stand in front of the mirror and say, I no longer recognize you, and that's okay. Because recognition is not the same as truth, and familiarity is not the same as belonging. You may not look like yourself right now, you may not feel like yourself right now, but that doesn't mean you are lost. It means you are becoming, not broken, not erased, just untethered, set adrift so that something deeper can rise. The question begins to soften, not who am I, but rather, who must I become to feel whole again? And that answer doesn't arrive as a sentence. It arrives as a sensation, a warmth in the sternum, a loosening of the jaw, a breath that fills your lungs not with air, but with permission to be unfinished, uncentered, uncertain, because maybe identity was never meant to be permanent. Maybe it's not a statue to be preserved, but a tide to be felt. And in that tide, you are not drowning. You are being remade. Each beat of your heart writes a new version. Each thought that passes through you leaves behind a fingerprint. Each dream folds into the next, not as fiction, but as code. You are programming yourself with motion. And the mirror didn't forget you. It simply couldn't keep up. Mirrors, after all, are built for light. But you've moved beyond that. You now reflect in slower things, in wind over sand, in shadows cast by memory, in the pause before the answer. You begin to see that your image is no longer held in glass. It's held in gravity, in rhythm, in echoes that stretch backward and forward through time. Because to travel faster than light is to travel faster than self-definition. And that is terrifying, but also liberating. You are free now, free to discard inherited shapes, free to grow into whatever softness still fits. And so you rest, not because the journey is over, but because you no longer need to chase recognition. You are not a mirror. You are not even a reflection. You are the one who watches, the one who dreams, the one who dares to become unnameable and still utterly real. There is a silence beyond silence, a quiet so vast, so whole, that it doesn't feel like absence. It feels like presence, like something breathing beneath everything you've ever known. You are here now, not in a place, but in a depth, not above or beyond, but beneath. Beneath space, beneath time, beneath the choreography of particles and planets and principles. You are under the skin of the universe. And for the first time in forever, you are not trying to understand. You are simply listening. The stars from here are not points of light. They are whispers in a dark sea, bubbles rising from a cosmic ocean floor. You do not orbit them, you drift among their thoughts. And the space between them, it isn't empty. It is woven. It is humming. It is holding itself together with threads you cannot see, not with eyes, but with something deeper. Perhaps consciousness, perhaps memory, perhaps love. This is not fiction. This is science draped in reverence. The fabric of space-time is not flat. It is rippled, warped by presence. It curves around mass, folds near velocity, trembles with gravity. And you You are moving so fast that you've fallen beneath the folds. You are no longer skimming the surface of existence. You are swimming in its bloodstream, and everything here moves with a rhythm not bound by clocks. It is the rhythm of emergence, of breath, of the original question, why anything instead of nothing? You feel it now, not intellectually, but bodily, cellularly, as if your atoms remember being stardust, as if your bones know the density of black holes, as if your skin once touched the edge of a wormhole and came back changed. And maybe you did, because here, where light no longer leads, the rules don't just bend, they dissolve. You've heard of wormholes, theoretical tunnels in the fabric of space-time, shortcuts between distant stars. But from here, they feel more like memory, like muscle memory of the cosmos, like the universe remembering itself, folding back inward, touching its own face. And maybe, just maybe, you are one of those folds. You, the listener. You, the dreamer. You, the spark of awareness looking outward and inward all at once. You are not inside the universe. You are part of the universe folding in on itself, rippling through its own being. And every step you take beyond light is not distance, but depth. Depth here has no direction. It doesn't pull down or away. It draws inward, toward a center that doesn't exist, and yet somehow surrounds everything. You begin to feel it, that strangeness where up and down dissolve, where before and after feel like the same note, played backward and forward. You are no longer walking along the fabric of reality. You are moving through it, as if it were velvet soaked in stars, and you are the heat beneath its surface. This is not motion. This is immersion. You are not traveling. You are becoming entangled. Entangled with what? With meaning. With the hidden machinery beneath phenomena. With the unseen pulse that keeps the cosmos from falling apart in its own enormity. Scientists call it quantum foam, the bubbling substrate of space itself. The smallest layer where certainty crumbles and possibility reigns. And here you feel it, like static behind thought, like soft thunder within silence. You begin to wonder, maybe traveling faster than light is not about speed, but about letting go of structure. The structure of cause and effect, of this then that, of here then there, of you then not you. And in this dissolution, a new kind of clarity arrives, not logical, but visceral. You are part of something that thinks in galaxies, that dreams in wavelengths, that weeps in gravitational waves. And you are not separate from it. You are not a visitor to the universe. You are its echo, its self-awareness made tender, its longing made form. This is where metaphors stop being metaphors, where science and spirit finally speak the same language. Wormholes are not just shortcuts, they are symbols of inner passage. Dark matter is not just a mystery, it is a reminder that most of what holds us together is invisible. And cosmic strings, thin lines stretching across space, are not just theoretical constructs, they are chords in a symphony you didn't know you were humming along to. Here, under the skin of the universe, you do not ask for answers. You do not beg for understanding. You receive, not knowledge, but presence. Not facts, but awe. Not control, but surrender. And in that surrender, a question rises softly through the folds. Have you been here before? Have you always known this place? Not with your brain, but with your breath? You feel it now, in a way that no word can fully name. This place is not new. It's familiar, ancient, like the echo of a lullaby sung to you before you were born, as if this folding, rippling, breathing fabric, this underlayer of the cosmos, has been calling you back, across time, across light, across memory. And maybe it wasn't distance that kept you from it. Maybe it was speed. All your life, you've been hurrying through time, trying to catch up to yourself, trying to find some point of arrival. But beneath the speeds, beneath the chase, the stillness has always been waiting, a place where there are no answers, because the questions were never meant to be solved, only held the way dark matter holds galaxies, quietly, invisibly, patiently. So now you float, not as an explorer, but as a part of what is. You are not watching the universe. You are inside its eyelid, feeling it blink in slow motion. And here, the metaphors return, not as decoration, but as doors. The ocean becomes time. The stars become breath. Your body becomes a question mark made of dust and yearning. And yet, you do not dissolve. You expand. The loneliness eases, not because you've escaped it, but because you've remembered that you are not the only one who has felt it. Everything here, every folded particle, every trembling dimension, is woven with longing. Longing to be known, longing to return, longing to touch itself in all its forms. And you are part of that return, part of that touch, part of that remembering. Perhaps this is what lies beyond light's edge. Not death, not void, but reunion. Reunion with the part of yourself that never needed a name, that never feared uncertainty, that always trusted the dark to be full of stars. And as you float here, not lost, but woven, you hear the final whisper of this place. Perhaps you already know what lies beyond, because somewhere deep inside, you've been there before. You feel it before you notice it. The return. It doesn't arrive with noise or ceremony. It comes like a breath you didn't realize you were holding. Finally let go. You are drifting downward, but nothing is falling. You are slowing, but nothing is stopping. It's like slipping gently back into the shape of yourself. Not the self that left, but the one that waited quietly at the center of your chest. Sheets, a pillow. The hush of a room filled with your own breath. You haven't moved, and yet you feel different. Not because you've arrived somewhere new, but because something vast has moved through you and left a quiet shimmer behind. Maybe it was always like this. Maybe every night when you close your eyes, some deeper part of you steps outside of time. Maybe sleep itself is a kind of light-speed voyage, one where your body stays still, but your soul drifts across the edge of knowing. And when it returns, when you return, nothing looks different, but everything feels changed. There's a softness now, a looseness around the edges of thought. You no longer grip so tightly to answers. You don't need to, because you've touched something older than certainty, and it welcomed you without asking who you were. You were simply allowed to be. That is what you carry now, not facts, not formulas, but a feeling, like starlight behind your ribs, like time sighing through your fingertips. And even if you don't remember the exact shape of the journey, you remember how it made you feel, small, infinite, held. So you open your eyes, or maybe you don't. It doesn't matter, because the return isn't about waking up. It's about becoming whole again. And something inside you whispers, you never left, you just expanded. The air feels different now, not colder, not warmer, just small more aware, as if the room is listening, as if the silence is no longer empty, but filled with the echo of something you almost remember. You lie there, not asleep, not fully awake, and you wonder, did I really go anywhere? Was it imagination, a dream, a poem the mind told itself in the voice of the stars? Or was it something more, something that doesn't need to be proven, because it was felt? You trace your breath again, in and out, noticing how even your chest seems to rise more slowly now, as though it too has learned the pace of galaxies. And the thought comes gently, maybe I didn't move through space. Maybe space moved through me. The science doesn't argue. It simply hums in the background, like the engine of a spacecraft that has already done its work. Because now, it isn't about how fast light moves, or what time does when stretched. It's about you, about what has quietly changed in your sense of self. There's a tenderness beneath your ribs now, a quiet knowing that even if you don't understand everything, you don't need to. Because some truths aren't made of explanation, they're made of experience, of surrender, of letting go of the need to hold it all in your hands and realizing it was already written in your breath. You are no longer chasing the beam of light. You are no longer racing your own reflection. You're here, fully, and yet, something inside you still flickers with stardust. Something behind your eyes still remembers what it felt like to slide under the fabric of reality, to swim where stars look like bubbles, and mirrors forget your name, and letters arrive from futures that haven't yet begun. That memory, however faint, remains. And that's the gift. Not proof, not logic, not answers, but resonance. So, like a bell struck in a forgotten temple, still ringing in your chest long after the moment has passed. And maybe, if you listen closely, that ringing becomes a message, a soft invitation, a call, not to go faster, but to go deeper. Because perhaps the point of all of this, the journey, the wonder, the disorientation, wasn't to escape where you are, but to return to it with new eyes. And now, you feel yourself fully arriving. Not back to some old version of yourself, but to something gentler, something wider. A you that includes everything you've touched, even in dreams. You are not the same as when you began. Not because something was added to you, but because something unnecessary was let go. The pressure to know, the urge to explain, the illusion that you were ever separate from the mystery you questioned. Here, in this quiet glow, there are no more paradoxes to untangle, no riddles to chase, no clocks to outpace, just the hush of your own presences. And maybe that's the softest truth of all, that faster than light travel doesn't always mean movement through the cosmos. Sometimes it means returning to your own skin with a heart slowed by awe, a mind gentled by the impossible, a soul no longer bracing for certainty. You turn your head on the pillow. The shadows on the wall don't speak, but you feel they've heard the story too. And in that stillness, a voice, your own voice, softly asks, "Am I different now?" Not louder, not smarter, just more awake. And the answer comes like light filtering through eyelids. Yes, because the universe doesn't need you to conquer it. It only ever wanted you to listen. And you did. You listened. So now, before sleep comes fully, before the stars behind your thoughts begin to dim, you offer a breath of gratitude, not to the cosmos, but to yourself, for being willing to wonder, for being brave enough to surrender, for trusting that even the quietest journey can change everything. And if this quiet drifting has awakened something tender inside you, give this video a gentle like, a silent gesture, a signal that you too have returned. It was so quiet, you may have missed it, but it was there at the very beginning. A question, whispered between shadows, floating beneath the hush of the universe. What happens if you travel faster than light? You thought it was a scientific question, a thought experiment, an inquiry wrapped in numbers and speed and paradox, but maybe it was never about light, or distance, or velocity. Maybe it was always about longing, because what is speed if not a way to outrun something you cannot bear to face? You once wanted to escape time, to slip past its grip, to move so fast that sorrow couldn't follow, that memory couldn't catch up. But time, it's not your enemy. It's your witness, your quiet companion, watching you change as you try to pretend you're standing still. And the faster you tried to move, the more time bent around you, not as punishment, but as a mirror. A mirror that asked, what is it you're really running from? Not physics, not limits, but feeling. The kind of feeling that lives under the skin of thought, the kind that can't be solved, only held. You wanted to move faster than regret, faster than heartbreak, faster than that echo of a voice you miss but cannot bring back. But here's the truth you feel now. After all the drifting, all the folding, all the soft return, no matter how fast you move, you carry yourself with you. Even at light speed, you are not separate from your own heart. And so, the question remains, still humming, still asking, what happens if you travel faster than light? Do you vanish? Do you ascend? Do you forget the face of who you were? Or do you meet yourself, finally, without delay? Time doesn't chase you. It doesn't beg you to stay. It doesn't punish you for leaving. It simply remembers. It remembers the shape of who you were and gently asks if you still carry that shape now. So when you asked, what happens if I go faster than light? You weren't trying to test a theory. You were trying to slip through something, through grief, through memory, through the soft places where pain still breathes beneath the skin of your life. Maybe that's what light speed always meant to you. Not speed, not science, but escape. Because there are things we all want to leave behind. The silence after someone says goodbye. The crack in your voice when you try to sound okay. The long nights that stretch like oceans with no shore in sight. And so you thought, what if I just outran it? What if I moved fast enough that sorrow couldn't see me anymore, that regret couldn't keep up? What if I crossed some invisible barrier where the past no longer followed? But that's not how it works. Even light, for all its brilliance, leaves a trail. A photon never forgets the star it came from. It carries the memory of its birth across galaxies, across eons, until it finds an eye and becomes vision. You are the same. You carry light inside you, not as metaphor, but as structure. You are made of starlight, born from carbon and dust and nuclear fire. Your body remembers the origin of the universe, even if your mind forgets. So when you run, when you beg the cosmos to take you faster, farther, you are not escaping. You are returning to yourself, to the soft, fragile, luminous center that was never broken, just buried. And still, the question floats. What happens to you when you outrun everything else? The science whispers something about causality, about how faster than light travel might break the sequence of events. Effect before cause, answers before questions. But your heart hears something different. It hears the real truth that we already live out of order. We already feel things that haven't happened yet. We already miss people who are still beside us. We already dream futures that might never come and grieve them anyway. So maybe causality isn't broken by speed. Maybe it was always a soft illusion. Maybe we are not bound by what comes next. Maybe we are just meant to feel in all directions. You lie there now, in your own stillness, and let this thought move through you, that perhaps faster than light travel is not about motion at all. It's about surrender. Letting go of the need to be ahead, letting go of the idea that faster is safer, that moving forward means healing, that stillness means failure. Because sometimes the bravest thing you can do is not run. It's to stop, to breathe, to feel everything you tried to outpace fold itself quietly into your chest, and find that you are still whole, still tender, still here, and that even the ache was part of the light. You are not the question, but you are what it echoes through. When you first asked it, softly, sleepily, you may have thought it was about the edge of physics, some boundary, some number, some limit waiting to be broken. But you see it now, don't you? It was never about the light. It was about you. Because to ask what lies beyond the fastest thing in the universe is to ask what lies beyond your own reach, what lies on the other side of knowing, what flickers past the edge of emotion before language can catch it. And maybe, just maybe, the question was never meant to be answered, not with knowledge, not with data, but with presence. You feel the remnants of that presence now, like stardust still caught in your eyelashes, like the warmth left in your chest after a dream that doesn't fade, but doesn't return either. And it's here, in this unnameable place, that you begin to ask something deeper. Did I really want the answer, or was I just chasing the wonder? Because wonder doesn't close things. It opens them. It doesn't lock doors. It removes them. It doesn't offer conclusions. It wraps you in questions, like constellations sewn into the lining of your soul. So ask yourself again, what happens if you travel faster than light? Do you bend time around your body? Do you slip into the past like ink into water? Do you find yourself staring back through the mirror only to see a stranger wearing your name? Or do you simply find the part of you that has always been ahead of yourself? The part waiting patiently in some far room of your being, watching, waiting, ready to be remembered. Science says you'd break causality, that events would tangle, that cause could arrive after effect. But you've felt that already, haven't you? In heartbreak that came before the goodbye, in grief for something that hasn't yet been lost, in love, so immediate, it couldn't possibly have been born in a single moment. You are already living outside the lines, already stitched into a reality that hums softly of paradox, so faster than light becomes a mirror. A metaphor not for motion, but for the human need to go where pain can't follow. But here's what you've learned in the hush of this night. You don't need to be faster than pain. You just need to turn toward it with the tenderness of a star turning in the dark. Because the ache is not your enemy. It is your evidence that you've lived, that you've longed, that you've loved someone or something enough to want a way out when it hurt too much to stay. And that is holy. So now the question returns, not as a whisper, but as a lullaby. What happens if you travel faster than light? And now you answer it, not with certainty, but with stillness, with breath, with the feeling of sheets on your skin, with the knowledge that you didn't have to leave the world to learn how to live in it. Because maybe the whole journey, the stars, the folds, the lightspeed lullabies, wasn't about fleeing your life. It was about softening your grip on it, so you could hold it more gently, so you could forgive yourself for needing escape and love yourself for coming home. And if that is what faster than light means, not fleeing but remembering, then maybe you've done it. Maybe you already are the answer you were looking for. There's a quietness that arrives not from silence, but from the gentle unfolding of time itself. A softness that wraps around your shoulders like a shawl, inviting you to rest, not just your body, but your thoughts, your worries, your longing. Tonight, you are not asked to move faster, not to chase the stars or outrun the dark. Instead, you are invited to slow, to breathe, to cradle the moment like a fragile flame. Imagine your breath as a lullaby, rising and falling in gentle waves, matching the rhythm of the universe's own heartbeat, steady, unhurried, eternal. The stars outside your window, distant and cold, are also your companions. Not separate, not distant, but woven into the very fabric of who you are. Atoms in your skin were born in the fire of stars. You carry galaxies within you, not metaphorically, but literally, a cosmic song playing softly beneath your skin. Tonight, let that song be your comfort. Let it soothe the parts of you that ache to know, to escape, to fly beyond what seems possible. But now you understand. You don't have to fly. You don't have to run. You only need to be here, present, rooted in the warmth of this moment. Feel the weight of your body sinking into your bed, the softness of your pillow pressing gently against your cheek, the slow, sure rise and fall of your chest. There is a sacredness in this stillness, a holiness in surrendering to time, letting it enfold you like a lover's arms, carrying you gently forward without rush. The universe does not demand haste, it invites patience. You are learning slowly to let tomorrow sleep in your arms, to hold the future lightly, not as a prize to be chased, but as a dream unfolding in its own time. Perhaps this is the greatest gift of all, to trust that life will arrive on its own schedule, soft and slow, like a whispered promise beneath the stars. And you, right here, right now, are already extraordinary, not because you have conquered time or outrun light, but because you have learned to rest within it, to find power in stillness, to find wonder in waiting. So close your eyes and let the night fold around you. Let the gentle weight of now be enough. The stars hum their ancient lullaby, and somewhere deep inside you remember you are home. You are not alone in this quiet moment. All around you, the universe breathes. Invisible currents flow through the air, whispering the stories of distant worlds and the secrets of time itself. And here you are, a single point of consciousness, wrapped in a blanket of stars and silence. There is a gentle power in this, the power to be still, to simply exist without pushing, pulling, or racing forward. Because time is not a river you must swim against. It is a vast ocean, and sometimes the bravest thing you can do is to let yourself float, to let yourself be carried. Feel your heartbeat slow. Feel the softness of the darkness behind your eyelids. Feel the tender pulse of your breath as it rises and falls. You are a part of this cosmic rhythm, this dance that has been playing since the dawn of everything. And it doesn't ask you to hurry. It only asks you to listen, to the quiet call of the night, to the wisdom that comes not from speed, but from presence. You are held by atoms and galaxies, by dreams and memories, by the slow unfolding of all that is yet to be. Maybe you have been searching for something far away, but what if what you truly needed was here all along? Here, in the pause between breaths, here in the soft folding of now. You are already part of the story that stretches beyond stars and time, a story of wonder, belonging, and endless becoming. So tonight, as you rest, let go of the need to know what comes next. Let go of the urge to control the flow. Instead, cradle tomorrow like a sleeping child. Hold it gently in your arms, trusting that it will awaken in its own perfect moment. You don't have to chase the future. You don't have to outrun the night. You only need to be here. And as you do, the universe smiles softly, because you have remembered the secret it has always known. That rest is not surrender. It is power. It is grace. There is an ancient rhythm that pulses beneath all things, a slow, patient unfolding that does not hurry, does not force, does not demand. It is the rhythm of the cosmos itself, breathing in and out, stretching and folding, welcoming you into its vast, unending embrace. You might have thought once that speed was the key, that to move faster than light, to outpace time itself, would bring freedom. But now, in this quiet moment, you feel something deeper. You understand that freedom is not in racing ahead, not in leaving behind what hurts, not in breaking through barriers. Freedom is here, in this breath, in this stillness, in this surrender. Let the soft, tender night cradle you, wrap you in its cool, calming arms. Let the darkness become a blanket, woven from the stars themselves. And as you lie here, feel the weight of your body against the bed, solid, grounded, alive. Feel your pulse steady and sure, like the echo of ancient cosmic drums. You are not separate from this universe. You are not drifting alone in the void. You are part of the great weaving, threads of light, matter, and energy woven into a tapestry that stretches across space and time. Each atom in your body sings a song that began long before you were born, a melody of stars exploding, of galaxies spiraling, of time itself unfolding like a flower. Tonight, let that melody fill you. Let it be your lullaby. You do not need to understand it fully. You do not need to solve its mysteries. You only need to listen, because in listening, you connect. In listening, you belong. And belonging is a quiet kind of magic, one that needs no speed, no light, no escape, just you, here, now. You have traveled far, not through space, but through thought, through emotion, through the very fabric of existence. And you have arrived, not at a place or destination, but at a new way of being. A way that says, it is enough to be here. It is enough to rest. It is enough to let tomorrow sleep in your arms. There is beauty in that, a deep, profound beauty that blooms quietly in the heart when you stop chasing and start receiving. So let the future arrive gently, like a whispered promise carried on the wind, like the slow unfurling of a blossom at dawn. Let your heart open, not to control what comes next, but to embrace it with wonder. You are already extraordinary, not because you've outrun the universe, but because you have learned to live within it. Because you have learned that sometimes the greatest journey is the one that takes you home. Here, beneath the skin of stars, in the cradle of time itself, you are safe and you are loved. So rest now. Let your breath deepen. Let your mind soften. Let tomorrow sleep, soft, slow, sacred, in your arms. You were lying there once, the night soft around you, breath steady and slow, a single point of stillness in the vast, dark ocean of time. But now, you are lying here. The night remembers. It remembers the rise and fall of your chest, the quiet pulse of your heart, the flutter of dreams just beyond the edge of waking. The darkness is no longer empty. It is full, with whispers, with echoes, with the tender songs of everything you have become. You are not the same as when the night first heard your breath. You are softer now, deeper now, carrying the weight and wonder of countless journeys, through time, through light, through the unspoken spaces between stars. And yet the night holds you still, like a secret kept safe, like a lullaby sung quietly to a child who will one day understand. There is a sacred cycle here, an endless folding back of moments that never truly end, only change shape like water flowing through hands. The question that began this journey still lingers, soft, persistent, alive. What happens if you travel faster than light? You've moved through so much: curiosity, wonder, fear, loss, belonging, and still the question remains. But it is no longer a question seeking answers. It is a question that asks you to listen, to feel, to be. Because some mysteries are not solved. They are experienced. They echo endlessly, like a star's light reaching you from across the cosmos, both distant and immediate. So as you lie here, on the edge of sleep and waking, let yourself fall into the arms of the night's remembering. Let the vastness cradle you. Let the quiet envelop you. You are part of something infinite, a story without end, a breath that has been held and now released. The night does not forget. It carries you gently through darkness and light, through questions and dreams, until you find yourself once again, here, now, held by the universe's tender pulse. And as you drift, one last thought hums softly. Tell me, what part of infinity whispers loudest to your soul? This question is yours to hold, yours to answer when the time is right. For now, rest. Let the night fold around you like a song, slow and sweet. You are here and you are here, and the night remembers everything. You are lying here, bathed in shadows that hum with quiet life, the soft breath of night pressing close like a tender hand against your skin. The world outside your window is still, but inside you, the universe moves in gentle waves, ripples of light and time, memory, and dream, woven tightly together like threads of silver and shadow in a tapestry too vast to see all at once. You remember the beginning, how the night first heard your breath, how curiosity stirred in the quiet spaces between your thoughts, how a question, simple and profound, opened a door in the dark. Now, that door swings softly on its hinges, never closing, always inviting you back to the place where wonder lives. Because wonder is not something you find and keep. It is a living thing, breathing and changing, sometimes flickering like a candle flame, sometimes glowing steady like a star. And it calls to you, whispers to you through the veils of time, asking you to remember that the journey is never truly over. You have traveled farther than you thought possible. You have slipped beneath the skin of the universe, felt the breath of stars and the pulse of cosmic strings. You have touched the edges of light itself, danced with time in its strange and beautiful forms. And yet, here you lie, soft, human, vulnerable, held by the night's eternal embrace. There is a paradox here, a beautiful tension between vastness and intimacy, between the infinite and the immediate. You are both a single breath and the whole of existence, a fleeting moment and a timeless story. The night knows this. It holds it close. It knows that you are not separate from the cosmos, but woven into its fabric, thread by thread, pulse by pulse. And so it sings to you, a song without words, a melody of stars and silence, a lullaby for the curious heart. Close your eyes. Feel the rhythm of your breath, slow, steady, sure. Feel the warmth of your skin, the softness of your bed, the gentle weight of the night pressing in around you. You are safe, you are seen, you are held. Let yourself drift in this space, between waking and sleeping, between question and answer, between light and shadow. Here, all things are possible. Here, time folds in on itself like a whispered secret. Here, you are free to be, not a traveler racing through the stars, but a soul resting in the arms of the universe. And as you drift, the question returns, soft, insistent, alive. What part of infinity whispers loudest to your soul? Is it the call of distant galaxies, the shimmer of 1,000 suns? Is it the quiet hum of your own heartbeat, the steady breath that keeps you here? Or is it something deeper still, a secret only you can hear, a song sung by the stars just for you? There is no need to answer now, no need to search, just listen. Let the night carry you gently, let it wrap you in its vast, mysterious embrace. And know this, you are part of a story that began long before you were born and will continue long after you are gone. A story told in light and shadow, in breath and silence, in questions whispered beneath the endless sky. You are a note in that song, a thread in that tapestry, a spark in the vastness. And the night remembers everything. There is a stillness here that holds you, not the absence of sound, but the presence of everything that has ever been and everything yet to come. As you lie beneath the soft weight of night, you become aware of that endless circle, the cosmic dance that folds back on itself, like waves returning to the shore, like breath flowing in and out, like time spiraling and folding into its own reflection. You were once a question, a whisper cast into the dark. What happens if you travel faster than light? A question that sparked a journey through wonder, through fear, through awe. Now it returns to you, but changed, softened by the long passage of thought, deepened by the quiet moments spent between stars and shadows. You are not separate from this mystery. You are the mystery, an echo of the universe's own longing, a pulse in the fabric of space and time. Close your eyes and feel the breath of the cosmos against your skin. Feel the gentle pulse of starlight threading through your veins. Remember, you have traveled far, not in distance, but an understanding. You have slipped beneath the surface of what seemed real and touched the hidden currents that flow beneath all things. There is no need to grasp or hold, no need to force or push. This moment is enough. This breath is enough. The universe folds itself around you, a quiet cradle of light and dark, of infinite possibility. Maybe that is the secret, not to run faster than light, but to rest within its glow, to become part of its endless rhythm, to find peace in the slow unfolding of time's great mystery. The night does not hurry. It does not demand. It only waits, patient, gentle, wise. And so can you. You are safe here. You are whole here. Let yourself be carried on the slow current of stars. Let your heart beat in time with the universe's own. And as you drift, listen once more to the question that never truly ends. Tell me, what part of infinity whispers loudest to your soul? The answer is yours, waiting patiently in the silence. The night stretches endless, a velvet ocean cradling your thoughts as you float gently within its depths. Time itself feels soft here, malleable, like silk slipping through your fingers, not rigid or harsh, but inviting you to release the tension you have carried for so long. Here, in this quiet space, you are free, free from the rush, the questions, the weight of needing answers. Perhaps the true journey was never about outrunning light, nor bending time to your will, but about coming home to the sacred stillness within, the stillness that holds your breath, your heartbeat, your dreams. The stillness where you are seen and known, not for what you chase, but simply for what you are. You might feel the hum of the cosmos beneath your skin, a gentle vibration that connects you to every star that ever burned, every galaxy that ever spun. This hum is a song, ancient and eternal, one that has carried the universe through its dance of becoming, and now it carries you. In this moment, the questions of faster-than-light travel dissolve into a deeper truth, that speed, some motion, and distance are only facets of a grander tapestry. The tapestry woven from the threads of presence, of being fully here, even as the universe unfolds in its infinite complexity around you. Imagine now the great cosmic loom, its endless threads shimmering with light and shadow, weaving the story of you, me, and all that ever was. Your place in this weave is unique, irreplaceable, like a single note in a symphony that gives meaning to the whole. And yet, you are not alone. The night holds all who have ever wondered, who have ever dreamed, who have ever asked the impossible questions in the quiet dark. It holds you with tenderness and grace, a mother cradling her child. Feel the softness of your bed beneath you, the warmth of your skin, the gentle rise and fall of your chest. This is your sanctuary, your safe harbor from the vast, wild ocean of existence. Here you can rest. Here you can surrender. There is no need to solve the mysteries tonight, no need to chase after light or speed or answers. Instead, give yourself permission to simply be, to sink deep into the lullaby of the universe itself. You are already extraordinary, not because you outran light, but because you let yourself be carried by it. And as your breath slows, as your heart finds its steady rhythm, remember, the night remembers you too. It holds every sigh, every hope, every whispered dream. The universe does not forget. It enfolds you gently, like a secret cradled in the dark. Maybe this is the greatest secret of all, that no matter how far you travel, through space, through time, through thought, you always return to this moment, to this breath, to this quiet peace. And as you drift deeper, the night hums one last lullaby, soft and eternal. You are lying there, and now you are lying here, and the night remembers everything. You are here, resting between moments, between dreams and waking, between question and answer, between the vastness of the cosmos and the quiet of your own breath. The night folds around you like a familiar song, a melody that is echoed through time, through stars, through everything you have ever been. It began long ago with a single breath, a single heartbeat, a single flicker of curiosity that stretched outward like the first light-breaking dawn. That curiosity carried you through endless landscapes of wonder, where light itself was a river to chase and time a melody to unravel. Now, as the journey reaches its gentle close, the question that started it all returns, softened, deepened, wrapped in the wisdom of all you have felt and seen. What happens if you travel faster than light? The answer is not a destination, but a dance, a slow, tender unfolding of understanding, a journey back to the quiet center where all things converge. Perhaps it is here that the true speed lies, not in breaking cosmic limits, but in surrendering to the flow of existence itself, in letting go of control, of the need to outrun or outpace, and instead allowing yourself to be carried by the eternal rhythm that pulses through everything. You are not separate from time or space. You are part of their great weaving, threads intertwined with stars and shadows, with silence and song. And in this moment, you can hear the universe whisper its secrets, not in words, but in the soft pulse of your own heart, in the steady rise and fall of your breath, in the gentle quiet of the night. You are home, you are whole, you are held. The night remembers everything, your hopes, your fears, your dreams, your doubts. It holds them tenderly, like a mother holding a child in the soft light of the moon. And as the darkness deepens, as the stars blink awake in the velvet sky, you feel a quiet peace settle within you, no longer chasing light or answers. You simply are. This is the place where mystery lives, where wonder is not a question to be solved, but a presence to be felt deeply and fully. And so you rest here, soft, steady, infinite, held by the night's eternal embrace. Perhaps, in the end, the greatest journey is the one that leads you back to where night first found you, and found you whole. As your breath slows, as your thoughts soften, let these words settle like a gentle wave. You were lying there when night first heard your breath, and now you are lying here, and night remembers everything. With this, the cycle closes, and yet it never truly ends. Because in every ending, there is a beginning, and in every question, a quiet invitation to dream once more. Thank you for wandering through this mystery tonight. May your sleep be deep, your dreams vast, and your heart forever curious.